Well, I've got several questions about Birdie's Bargain for you because I really adored this book. Esteemed audience knows that I never summarize an author's book because why would I make you sit through me doing that? That would be terrible. So if you would give esteemed audience kind of an overview of Birdie's Bargain, and we'll go from there.
Well, what I tell people when they say, "What is your new book about?" I say, well, it's about a little girl who makes a bargain with God, and God didn't keep his side of the bargain. And then they get a little worried, which they should. Of course, the book is a little more helpful than that, but everybody wants you to say it in one sentence, so that's my one sentence. But it's very much my 10-year-old self in many, many ways, my 9 or 10-year-old self. My father lost a leg in World War I, and I guess that's one reason why Birdie's father loses a leg. Of course, I never knew my father when he had 2 legs, but I don't even know how to answer that question any further than I have. You want to ask me another question? Maybe it would help.
Sure. Why set this during the Gulf War?
Well, that was one of my questions to begin with. Why is this child standing in the middle of the road and watching a disappearing car, and not that she's not in? Why they're leaving her behind, whoever's going away, because she's obviously crying because she's being left behind. And so I didn't know when I started that it was because her father was going to war. At one point, I decided that her parents were going to go to Africa to teach for 3 years, and she didn't want to go because she was afraid to go to Africa. And I don't know at what point I gave that one up. But I do remember that was one of the possible solutions to the question of that's an interesting thing about the way a writer's mind works. Sometimes you simply have this picture, and this has happened to me a number of times, a very vivid picture of a character in a situation, and you don't know what the situation is. You don't even know the character yet. But your job is to figure out why that character is in that situation, and that becomes the book. I remember with Master Puppeteer, I had a vivid picture of a young boy in the upstairs of a storehouse, Japanese storehouse, looking for something that he couldn't find. And then as he's looking, he hears the sound on the stairs, and he sees in the dark the white face of a warrior puppet coming towards him. And I had that picture, but I didn't know what he was looking for, why he was there, and why he was being menaced, apparently by a puppet. In Jip's story, I had a vivid picture of a baby on a dirt road, and a wagon retreating away as though the baby has been left behind on the road. I had to figure out why this baby is on the road. So I guess other writers have, start with just a picture, and then they have to figure out the meaning of the picture. I started different places with different books. Of course, with Pixie Terabithia, I was just trying to make sense of a tragedy, an actual tragedy. And why would a little girl be struck by lightning when it didn't even seem to be a storm? It didn't make any sense whatsoever. And of course, you can't put that in a book because nobody would believe it. What actually, the actual event. I started writing Gilly Hopkins because we'd been asked to be temporary foster parents. And after the evacuation of the children from Cambodia, and they didn't know what to do with them. And they just asked people like us who had adopted and had therefore been cleared as proper parents if we take the boys in for a couple of weeks until they could figure out what to do. And I had to realize that I was not a good foster mother, because I was saying, well, we can't solve that problem because they're only going to be here for a couple of weeks. Of course, they were there for considerably more than a couple of weeks. Or I said, oh, thank heavens, they're only going to be here a short time. And I thought, I'm treating two human beings as though they're disposable. And human beings are not disposable. So I'm going to write a book with the best foster mother of all time, the one that I wasn't. And I thought,
possibly you've inspired someone else to be a wonderful foster mother after they've read the Great Gilly Hopkins. So
also, I thought, how would I feel if people regarded me as disposable? And I figured I would be furious. Of course, I realized later that I had two foster children in the story, and I might well have been William Ernest and been timid and frightened and withdrawn.
Well, I've not talked to enough authors who've written about terrible foster parents that I'm going to go ahead and put out there that although you might be very hard on yourself, you're way above average.
Well, I did have a wonderful experience at the National Book Festival. The last time it was outdoors, which was, I can't remember what year that was. And there was a line for autographing. And then eventually this very tall, handsome Asian man came to the table and he said, "Miss Paterson, I'm Pitu," who is one of the children that we had fostered not many years ago. And I didn't, I mean, he was absolutely non-English speaking when he was with us, and adorable child, but very much persecuted by his older brother, who was a very angry child. And my other children wanted us to adopt Pitu, and I said, no, we can't do that. We're just taking care of him. But the family that did become his permanent foster parents didn't want to have anything to do with us. And so he left our house one day and we never saw him or heard about him. The family that took the older brother, because the older brother did not want to be placed with his younger brother, kept in touch with us over the years. So it was their choice, not ours. But I was so touched to see little Pichu all grown up.